Sports fans, kings, queens, and everything in between, welcome to the Real Deal Sports Talk Show, brought to you live from the Bobbisox Lounge right here in DeSoto, Texas. Listen, however you're joining us tonight, please make sure you follow, like, subscribe, share, start a watch party with this stream that you see on the screen at RDST Show. My name is David J. Harris, and it's my pleasure to introduce these fine gentlemen sitting up here next to me. From Houston, Texas, Mr. Brett B.T. Thompson.
The one and only Houston, Texas, born and bred.
From Dallas, Texas, Mr. LaBrent Sowells.
Let's get with it. Let's get with it.
And his twin brother, Mr. LaClent Sowells.
Tony Romo.
Again, I'm David Harris, right here from Dallas, Texas, just as well. And guys, we only know how to bring a brand of sports that's all gas, no brakes, no fakes, all in your face. So when you hear that, just get used to hearing it because it's coming. Now, look, sports is back. The show is back.
It's back.
The NBA bubble is bubbling. Major League Baseball has regular season games this week. Mark Cuban going off on politicians on Twitter. But, LaBrent, when you from this town, there's one team, one name, one contract that's on the forefront of everyone's mind, maybe because of the news or lack of news from last week.
Owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, at his old age, must have fell asleep at the deadline. Because he did not make a move, literally, at all. The move that everybody was expecting to be made did not. And the thing is, fellas, I did not realize that he was going to make the push for the guaranteed money. I had to go back. I looked at, okay, a similar deal. I see what he was trying to do. Jared Goff, 2016, did something similar to that. $110, $110 million, right? Right. Guaranteed money. Jerry Jones made his last ditch effort. Dak Prescott said no. This is not something he wants to do. He felt like, and here's my take on it, guys, and I'm gonna let you guys talk about it. Okay. I feel Dak, but on the other hand, I don't feel Dak.
Right.
You know, I think Dak has a lot to prove still. I think if anybody that can see, Trinity can see this. Anybody that can see can know that Dak does everything well off the field, right? He's not that troublemaker, right? And to be a Dallas Cowboy to say that, that's a lot, right? Yeah. He on the field, he's put up unbelievable numbers. But there's one thing that he hasn't done, which is the reason why they probably didn't meet him at the number that Dak wanted, is he has no playoff success.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that a lot of people say that give Dak what he wants because he's the quarterback. Give him his money. But I think the Cowboys made a fair offer. I think the Cowboys didn't downplay or anything. They made a legitimate offer. It's just that they wanted 5 years, Dak wanted 4. And you still would have been paid in the top 5 of quarterbacks. And you're not even a top 5 quarterback. So Dak.
Top 10.
Some would disagree.
What'd you say?
Not even top 10.
Hold up. Okay. Let him finish.
I might have to agree with you. But that, take the money. But it's too late. So next year, take the money. But it might be too late then. And then you go see yourself out of a job with the Dallas Cowboys, and then here come the Cowboys all the way getting our boy Sunshine.
Sunshine.
All right, I'd like to step in. Dak definitely took a chance. I honestly think the Dallas Cowboys went as far as they were willing to go with the $110 million guaranteed, which is a healthy offer. You know, it's the second most, third most, all time. And this is the time for when people say, you know, you strike while the iron is hot. Anything can happen next year. You know, Dak is getting guaranteed $35 million, but what if he gets injured in week 2 and misses the rest of the season? And, you know, now that 110 is gone off the plate because no one's going to pay him any money after that. And basically what Brent says that the Cowboys are paying him because he has not produced well in the playoffs.
That's the only reason.
And some would even argue that those gaudy stats that he's put up as really basically they're garbage time stats when the Cowboys are down 21 points in the fourth quarter and he brings on a charge, and he comes out in the fourth quarter, he throws for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And now, instead of, of having a game where he throws for 150 yards and a touchdown, now it looks like he threw for 350 and 3 touchdowns. So it looks good, but it's, in the words of Clint Sowells, when he talks about James Harden, fool's gold.
Wow.
I think you're pouring it on a little thick there, but that's your role on this show, to pour it on a little thick when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys or anything Dallas for that matter.
Right.
Listen, it was clear that Dak went into this contract to negotiate, a precedent that may have been something that's a little bit different for quarterbacks when it comes to the amount of years that's on a deal. He definitely was trying to get, the shorter term deal. I think your boy Deshaun Watson down in Houston was hoping that came to fruition. But we'll see how that plays out for him this time next year. Guys, I think as we go forward, Dak is reportedly happy with the tag, even though he didn't get his long-term deal done. Okay, fine. Now you ask yourselves, are the Cowboys any better off? Are they any worse? Are they the same with Dak's outlook for the future beyond this particular year? If he goes into the next year and plays on the second tag, he's going to have the highest cap hit ever for any player, let alone he's going to be paid as one of the highest quarterbacks in the league. Shout out to Patrick Mahomes, by the way. But I'm just wondering how motivated Dak is going to be knowing that his money beyond this year is up in the air. I think if he plays well, he's going to be fine. He has a future in the NFL. We know that. You can argue who's the top 10 quarterback if you want to. I think he is. Other people won't. But he's going to be paid like a top 5 quarterback at minimum going into the next year. And really, we better hope he doesn't win a Super Bowl, because then he's going to be looking for more money than Patrick Mahomes, Clint.
Dave, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
And here's a question for you boys.
Win a Super Bowl.
Right, which is very possible, despite that. Who is the pressure on going into the season? Cowboys or Dak Prescott?
I think neither. I think the pressure is really on the coaching staff. You take a whole coaching staff and you remove them and you replace. We're not talking about just the head coach. We're literally talking about on the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball. Everybody was removed, right? Besides the offensive coordinator, and all he is just a placeholder. Right, this is Mike McCarthy team. A lot of pressure's on that because everybody, BT, right, knew that Dallas had one of the better personnels in the league. So it was never a question on paper, did we have the people? It was all about Jason Garrett, fire Red J, let's get him out. So the pressure remains really on the coaching staff.
You know what? I think the pressure is on the coaching staff. We can't say that this team is short of talent. That's number one. I think I would have been fine with BT coaching the Cowboys this year. I was so tired of Jason Garrett. Like literally anybody could have come in. But literally anybody could have come in and coached the Cowboys this year. But I'll tell you one thing that I did like that I saw from Dak over the weekend. So there was this post that was put out about all of the great college players that wore number 15. And namely Dak, Ezekiel Elliott, and Tim Tebow were in this conglomerate of players that were in there. And so Zeke poses the question to Dak on Twitter, in just a public forum, and says, what you think, boss? Who's the best 15? And Dak responds, Tim Tebow. He gives Tim Tebow his due and tells him, but our best ball is ahead of us. And then, hashtag 214, 21-4. That's one of those things. That's a leadership quality in Dak that I think is just, you can't measure it with money, man. You have a guy like that. Dak, he's not on Twitter like that. Right. He does a lot of promoting of his foundations and just a lot of positive things. But for him to take that stance, even after this contract deadline has expired, he's playing on the tag. He says he's fine with the tag. He's still showing that he's the leader of this team and telling his teammate, who is signed long term, like, hey, our best days are ahead of us. Let's get ready.
You're absolutely right, BT. I feel like the one thing that the reason why this doesn't affect the team, the players, is because they realize how much a leader of Dak is, how big of a leader he is.
Okay. I think that the pressure is squarely on Mike McCarthy, okay? And because I think the decision is up to him at the end of the day. I think he has Jerry's ear. Right. And if he tells Jerry, Dak is my guy, Jerry will back up the Brinks truck, and he'll go ahead and pay and extend Dak. But if he doesn't pass the smell test after 1 year, and Mike McCarthy is ready to jump ship, at very least, I think the Cowboys will shop Dak, or they'll let him play the tag and we'll let him walk.
And BT, that's why I to your first point, I have to disagree. I think the pressure going into this year is solely on Dak Prescott because you've already set the market to where, okay, I could put up numbers, but I can't be successful in the playoffs. We've already tweeted and changed the offense for you last year. So now you're bringing a new head coach. You still got a top 5 running back. You still got arguably a top 10 receiver on your team. There's no reason where you can't be successful this season. And if he doesn't, then now I'm not going to say that they're going to shop Dak around the next year, but now minds is turning in the office. Like, okay, is he our franchise quarterback? Is he our future quarterback? I'm not too sure, Brett.
I'm not sure about that either, but everybody know I'm on the fence when it comes down to Dak.
I'm on the fence too.
I don't think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the leagues, but I don't think he's one of the worst. BT, I know you have a different opinion. Dave, I know you feel Dak a lot. But, guys, he's just too inaccurate for me, guys. He's too inconsistent. His accuracy is an issue. However, I feel like, again, Mike McCarthy is a quarterback's coach, right? We're talking about somebody that caught balls from Joe Montana, right? Somebody that was in the trenches with Aaron Rodgers day after day. This guy can get better. He can get it done.
All right. Dak is at a critical point in his career. He's at the critical point of his career where you're ready to judge him. Is he the guy that can't get it done, or he just hasn't gotten it done yet? And I'll tell you about another quarterback who was started out kind of shaky on his rookie deal and then got injured, and then the team decided to go with another quarterback, and he turned out to be a quarterback who just didn't get it done yet, and that's Drew Brees. And
With the
now
Chargers.
you would hate to sit Dak down and then taint the season and go after your boy Sunshine Trevor Lawrence, and then say you get him.
That's who I want.
Say you get him.
That's what I want.
And then Dak turns around and goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars or to another team like maybe the Oakland Raiders and leads them to prominence and leads them to a Super Bowl. And then you'll be kicking yourself. And then especially if Sunshine doesn't turn out to be, if he turns out to be simply Phillip Rivers, a good quarterback that never got it done.
You know what, Brent? I want to unpack one of the first things that you said that's kind of resonating with me a little bit more now. You did say a lot, but you had good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say the Cowboys, though they did try to make this last-ditch effort to try and sign Dak long-term, let's say they want to use this year to evaluate him. Now, you have 4 years to evaluate this 7th-round quarterback who ends up, stepping in for you and winning winning offensive rookie of the year. His first year in the league.
MVP race.
And in the MVP, what was that? Finished 5th place.
5th place.
Okay, so we're going into this season, and we're evaluating this guy. Now, conventional wisdom, based on the trajectory of what he's done, the first year, great year. 2nd year, not so good. 3rd year, great year. 4th year, not so good.
Right.
Conventional wisdom says this year he's going to have a great year. But what are you trying to see for him this year where you're finally sold and off the fence? Whether you're coming off the fence either way, what are you trying to see to say, okay, this guy's our future. Let's go forward with him as the face of the franchise?
2 wins in the playoffs. It's just that simple.
That's
You win in the postseason. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how many touchdowns you throw, how many stats. Mahomes got the deal because he won the Super Bowl. Let me know right now if you believe Mahomes gets that same year deal
Right.
if he loses to San Fran. He
If he
doesn't.
loses,
If he loses, you think it's a 10-year deal?
I think he might get close to
It
it.
gets close, but he doesn't get the deal that he got.
But
Correct?
Brett, I say
get
1
it.
year.
So it does matter. Playoff
One
success
game.
matters.
1 game. Win 1 game. You said 2. Well, because we're going
He's
to
won
win
one.
He's
Yeah.
won though already.
won.
He's already won one.
Yeah.
Is
Is
that
that
I
a
know you
wild
don't like
card?
Dak.
Is
I
it
know
a
you don't
wild
like
card
Dak,
round?
but he has.
Yeah,
He
you're
ain't
right.
Romo.
So if you go
He's won one.
if you go 9-7 and get the last wild card spot, and then you end up beating the Vikings in
In the wild card game.
in the wild card game, 17-10.
Right.
That's good enough to keep that.
Oh, no, at all.
And I'm gonna go a step further. It's not about just winning 2 games. It's about you not being the reason why we lost the 3rd game, right? So he has a lot on his plate, But again, let's not confuse though. The question is he worth the money that he was trying to ask for? Obviously, he was asking for more than the 110 guaranteed, right? And obviously he wanted more. And I don't think he wanted
Per year.
Per year, right? He wanted one per year. But the question that I say is no. You know, I think he's a 33 to 34 mil a year type of guy. I don't think he belonged in the upper echelon of those guys that's getting paid, because if you pay him that money he was asking for, he'll be getting paid up there with some of the best in the league.
Well, I just don't get it. I don't get it. What the Cowboys was offering was going to make Dak Prescott the fifth highest paid quarterback. I just don't understand. I don't understand.
Right. Well, there's a lot to not understand. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty in the air, but that surpass Dallas Cowboys. There's uncertainty and questions about contracts all over the NFL, right? And I want to take this time to switch gears a little bit over to the Tennessee Titans, because they have somebody on the other end of the spectrum. Did he take Did he take a lesser amount? Did he act too quickly? Right? Maybe he could have held out or something like that to get a little bit more. But 4 years, $50 million with 25 guaranteed. I really honestly feel, BT, that Derrick could have got a little bit more. Him being a top rushing.
Derrick Henry, really, I mean, look at it as the Titans got a bargain.
They did.
Or Derrick Henry got taken to the cleaners. Just a year, less than 12 months ago, Zeke Elliott gets what, $50 million guaranteed?
Right.
Yep.
You know, $50 million. Now, you can make an argument that Zeke Elliott is a better back than.
There's no argument.
That's not an argument.
There's not an argument, but go ahead.
But oh my gosh, I can make an argument for Derrick Henry. But like,
Of course.
but like, he's not twice as good as Derrick Henry.
Right.
I mean,
Agreed.
he's not that much head and shoulders over Derrick Henry.
Agreed.
If he is better at all.
Some would
You
trade
know?
him right now, just a
Yeah,
straight flip.
straight up, because Derrick Henry, he came in the league, and Zeke was given the whole wagon his rookie year. Derrick Henry split time his first couple of years,
Right.
And that's why his numbers aren't all that overwhelming.
With Lewis, yeah.
His first couple seasons, but he's the man now. He is an absolute monster. He's a runaway freight train. He power, speed, breakaway speed.
Right.
He's the total package. He's what you want. Now, how long does that last in the NBA, in the NFL in 2020 and 2021? That's the question. And that's maybe reason why his deal was so low.
I mean, I kind of have to disagree with you, because you say it's low, but where he got paid is right there as the fifth highest paid running back. I mean, is he the fifth best running back in the league today?
He finished first in rushing last year.
Okay, wow, one time. How many times have Zeke done it since he's been in the league?
Like what, one time?
No, he's been a rushing champion twice.
Oh, two
At
times.
least twice. At least twice.
Okay,
At least
my
twice.
bad.
Top three.
I mean, but he's up there top three
Top three
pretty
every
much every time, bro.
Well, okay.
Right, so you expect Henry to get McCaffrey money?
Yes.
We need
Because he
more to
beats
see.
you up every twice a game? Because
I'm with Clint. We need
No,
more.
actually,
We need to
he
see
does,
more.
we're the only team. The Houston Texans are the only team that really kind of keeps Derrick Henry under control.
I'll tell you
Okay.
what, I think Henry got his money. You look at his after contact numbers. I mean, it's almost 200 yards more than anybody else in the league.
That's insane, man.
And it speaks to your point. I agree with you, BT. How long is that going to last? We saw DeMarco Murray was a guy who always wanted contact.
Yes.
He always wanted contact. He left Dallas, had a
Yeah.
pretty decent year in Tennessee, and then, just kind of fell off the map. One thing about Derrick Henry, I think he saw that signing bonus, which was $12 million, and took that. I don't know if he had something on his mind that he wanted to pay for.
Maybe he's going to be one of the players to opt out or something.
And he's going to get $15 million in cash, this year alone total. We know it's going to be $25 million, in new money that's guaranteed. But I think he saw some of those dollar signs. He saw maybe the pandemic, especially when he got the contract. Maybe didn't know what the salary cap is going to look like next year, and took it and ran.
And another point, Dave, that was a great point. He has the opportunity, if he believes in himself and his durability, to get another deal.
Right.
I don't think your boy I don't think your boy Zeke is going to get another monster deal. I think this is it. He's going to ride this one out. He'll get another good deal,
Yeah.
but $50 million, absolutely not.
I agree. It's unlikely.
So I think Derrick Henry might be doubling down on himself.
That's cutting it close though, because the year expectancy for a running back is not that long, so he could be in a different place 4 years from now. But I'll tell you, a team that should be in a different place right now is the Cleveland Browns. I mean, what are you thinking, Cleveland? Cleveland Browns offer Myles Garrett one of the highest paid defensive contracts in NFL history, guys. NFL history. I'm not a big fan of it. Contains over $100 million, guys. I mean, when you see a player that did what he did, it just tells me one thing. The NFL and Cleveland, somebody knows what was said, and so they went ahead and paid the guy because they know what was said. We don't know what was said. I don't think this will ever get leaked out right now. Maybe in 2030, they'll leak it out and say what was finally said. But evidently, Miles, here you go. You hit somebody head across with your helmet. Here's your reward. Highest contract.
I'm sorry, Clint. But yeah,
You got something to say about
the whole,
obviously.
the whole, yeah. Myles Garrett had one of the ugliest black eyes on the NFL that we've seen in recent history.
Right.
And I believe that with everything that's gone on, from everything from the whirlwind that is our president to the Houston Astros trash banging scandal to the
Cheaters.
to the COVID-19 shutting down everything, and then to Patrick Mahomes winning the Super Bowl and getting his big deal. I think people forgot about that incident of him hitting Mason Rudolph over the head with the helmet, and it's not and it's all about what's in the news cycle. It's all about what's fresh and what's going on right now. Right. And since everybody has forgotten about it, they were able to pay him without a problem. Now you can look at Myles Garrett; he's a specimen. He's one of the few top 5 specimens that's come out of the league, come out of the draft in the last 10, 15 years, and he's probably worth that money. Have you seen that video of him blocking that shot of that dunk that dude tried to dunk on him? I mean, the guy's a monster. He's an animal. Yeah. And I mean, he's gonna get a lot of sacks in his league, over 150 sacks in his league. So he's worth the money. So maybe it's that at the end of the line you can do that, and then you can sweep the Mason Rudolph thing under the rug.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The Browns believe in Garrett. That's the whole point. If we want to talk about X's and O's and actually on the field instead of off the field, Browns simply believe in Garrett. And not only that, they believe that Garrett, I'm going to say this, fellas, Garrett is the best player on the Browns team.
Yes.
The best player on the Browns team. Mm-hmm. So why not give the man his money? Especially if everybody thought that the Browns was going to come out the gates last year firing on all cylinders with Landry and Odell and Mayfield, but that didn't happen. And I'm not too sure when it's going to click or if it will click. And so why not shore up that defense and pay Garrett, Dave?
Fellas, I'm not that much of a craps player at all. We used to do a little some of that in high school. But either the Browns are about to roll snake eyes or they playing with loaded dice. Man. Let's look at the moves, that they've done. Let's just look over the last year and some change. You bring in Odell, who comes in as this troubled receiver, wants to get out of New York, probably did the right thing getting out of there. They end up firing their whole executive staff, got rid of their coach, and then you go and play this player who had this tumultuous season, and you bring him back and you give him the richest defensive end contract. And again, he's probably worth it. He definitely has all the tools as it looks like. But I mean, they're gambling on their future. And I don't know, man. I think I kind of like it. The Browns seem to be on this forever, hamster wheel where it's just either they're mediocre at best, their best years in probably the last 20 years. They've probably been a mediocre team. And I think they're trying to put some things in place where they're going to solidify their future. There was talks of Odell being traded. They doubled down and say, no, he's going to stay. Odell even says he's going to stay. And I really want to see what they're going to do going forward. Now, they got a question mark on that old quarterback from Oklahoma.
Mayfield.
There's quite a question on him. But this being year number 3, I think it's time to kind of show, what he's going to do. He's not making any more Hulu commercials.
Right.
And by all accounts, his whole focus has been on football this offseason. He's had plenty of time to try to turn the corner. And the odds are going to be on Cleveland this year for sure.
Mayfield had more commercials than wins last year.
Right. Straight up.
More commercials than wins. Let that sink in.
Mayfield was your boy.
It was my guy. Cleveland was my team. I had a lot of hopes for them coming into the season.
Did you pick a lot of them in fantasy too?
I did. I picked a lot of Cleveland Brown owners. I was a huge owner of a lot of Cleveland Brown players. But I tell you what, guys, I want to move. We're going to switch gears here again a little bit. But before we do, let's talk about somebody that we're talking about a lot of people that have contracts. Let's talk about somebody that doesn't have one yet. Your boy, Jadeveon Clowney.
Jadeveon
Still
Clowney.
unsigned.
He's still in the league?
He's in the unemployment line right now. I
Right.
think they just got through talking about how much they're going to up that again. They're going to extend it another month. Is he in that line?
I heard he just got a stimulus check.
He just got stimulated.
He got the second one first.
He got the stimulus check.
Oh, man.
Jadeveon Clowney, my goodness, another one of those physical freaks. A guy who I kind of played himself a little bit. When Miami offered him $17 million a year, him and his agent turned it down because they wanted over $20 million a year, and he hasn't gotten a deal close to that, and that's unfortunate. It really is. The guy, he is a great player, but he's a backwards player. You know, he's like a quarterback that could run better than he could throw. Because he's a run stopping defensive end that run stops better than he can pass rush.
Right.
And pass rushing is what gets you paid in
Yeah.
the NFL. Sacks, sacks get you stacks, in the NFL. So and it's unfortunate that he's in the situation that he's in. I mean, I think he's gonna have to go somewhere, eat some humble pie, and sign a 1-year prove-it deal somewhere, and then hopefully he'll get paid again. But the way it's looking right now, it doesn't look like he's going to get paid.
No, not if the Patriots ain't picked you up by now, and they're notorious for this at this point of the map.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think he's gonna go back to Seattle on a prove it deal. But like Dave, your boy, you picked him in some fantasies. AJ Green. Where you stand on him?
Look, I don't know why A.J. Green didn't get another contract, aside from the fact that he's hurt a lot, and it's probably time for him to move forward.
Yeah, it's not that time.
He may need to consider changing sports. Since we talking about changing sports.
Yeah.
Since we talking about changing sports, I mean, he might have a future in the NBA if he can't get another check in the NFL. But fellas, speaking of the NBA, the bubble is bubbling. I don't know if y'all knew, but the NBA scrimmage schedule begins on Wednesday. And anybody that knows me,
I know you're ready for that.
I'm geeked, man. It's Christmas. It's Christmas. It's early. It's early. The Christmas in July is celebrated in a couple of places, and I definitely want to celebrate, going forward. Y'all heard about the snitch line in the NBA, something that is very active. I've seen all kind of memes of, LeBron James snitching on whoever, somebody getting Grubhub from outside of the bubble, or Kawhi Leonard is on the phone. He's got that smirk that he had in Toronto. Somebody's got, I just saw LeBron get I mean, it's just, it's really crazy what's going on. But I want to think about this. The NBA has been really lenient about some of the things that have been reported. And I'm just wondering, what is it going to take, for a team or a player to finally, bring forth a violation that maybe puts, their position in the bubble in jeopardy, or maybe a heavy fine is probably passed down first as the first major slap on the wrist. What kind of things are you guys thinking, could probably put a team in jeopardy? They've been really pushing the envelope with that.
The no snitching. I heard John Morant talk about that. He doesn't like the no snitching, the snitching policy.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy.
I understand why the NBA doing what they're doing, because it's a huge liability if you're sneaking out to get pizza, and I use pizza metaphorically.
Right.
If you're sneaking out to get pizza across the line, outside the bubble, you don't know what you can bring back.
Right.
And if you bring back one thing, one case of COVID to one other player, and then inside that bubble, it's only going to do is spread and multiply, and it could jeopardize the entire season. This is the NBA's chance to actually recoup its investment on this season, and then it could take one person literally can tear it down, but ask guys how they feel after 3 weeks of being cooped up in that bubble without getting out, doing what their normal routine. Guys are gonna get desperate, and they're gonna get antsy, and they're gonna want to leave. It's gonna happen. Right. There's no way around it, and that's why guys like Charles Barkley says that this will not work, and this whole bubble thing will work. I'm hoping it does, because I am geeked up like Dave is, and I'm really pumped up about the NBA playoffs and the finals and the format.
Yep.
Man, and I didn't mean to go that
Clint,
long.
you always do. Clint, it's a lot of pressure though. That's the reason this is important. I mean, I know you don't like, nobody likes to snitch, right? What they tell you back in the day, snitches get stitches, then thrown in ditches.
Wind up in ditches.
You know, right? Yeah, it's a Dallas thing.
You don't know about it.
But Dave Clint, the league, this league has to work because a lot of professional leagues across the world, across the country, are looking at how the NBA does it. This is the first major sport to return to action during this pandemic. So they're going to follow, if it works, they're going to follow the exact same process. So you may see Dak snitch on somebody in 2 months. You know what I mean? You never know. So I think it's important that they do this. So I don't mind the snitch rule.
You know, I think the NBA, like any successful league, works because it relies on its stars. And like, you know, to BT's point, it takes one person to go in and cause a huge flare up in COVID. And that would just really, I mean, that would derail everything. You know, as much as we're excited about Major League Baseball returning, MLS has already, been playing. Yeah. We know the PGA Tour started back up, this past weekend, and even beyond that. You need the stars. And there are a couple of other stars who finally got to the bubble. One being number 13, the beard.
James Harden.
Looked like he just came back from a Jenny Craig plan or something. I mean, this dude out there looking like me, looking ripped, looking slim. But BT, I gotta address one thing, man. Your boy has a really interesting taste. I'll say taste in fashion, but there was a face covering that seemed to go a little viral.
Can we put a hold on that for a second? I promise you, we'll address it on what's hot in RDST.
Seems to be deviating.
So you're gonna bring that back?
That's trending.
We're gonna bring it.
Okay.
It's trending.
Well,
RDST is coming. It's coming. RDST.
Cool. I'll bring it here. I'll pivot this way. Harden has been back in the bubble. On the basketball side, looks like he seems to be in great shape.
Right.
Mike D'Antoni says, took him 30 seconds to look like himself. But we find out today that Russell Westbrook is also returning to the bubble. Now, he can't practice just yet.
Right.
Has a few tests to pass after testing positive for COVID. And all jokes aside, we hope he's okay and able to remain healthy going forward. But with him coming back to the bubble a little later than his teammates, he's not too late. Going into this season, him joining his teammates, how are you feeling about, your big two getting back together?
Okay, Russell Westbrook, as we all know, tested positive for coronavirus, or COVID-19. And up until then, he was posting on Instagram his workout videos. And the last one he posted, I think, was on June 27th. And he was looking very good, very spry, very athletic, very quick, very Russell Westbrook. And we haven't seen anything ever since. And I'm assuming it's because he tested positive and he probably felt he probably wasn't asymptomatic.
Right.
And, but however, Mike D'Antoni, in his press conference today, he said that Russell Westbrook will be back, and when he gets in, he'll be in shape. I don't know if I can believe that 100%. You have something that attacks your respiratory system. It's gonna take a minute for you to come back. But like, even if he misses the first, couple of scrimmages, even the first couple of games, I'm okay with it. Because I think, and I'm confident in Russ and his training and his conditioning, that he will be just fine. Him and Harden are gonna be like Forrest and Jenny, like peas and carrots.
Right.
And they're gonna be putting up 60, 65 points a game and about 22 assists a game and about 18 rebounds. So I am not worried about those guys. And small ball, when it comes down to it, and I'll talk a little bit more about it, I think the Rockets have the biggest puncher's chance amongst everybody in this new format.
Are we going there right now?
No, we're not. I just want to give you a little taste.
Because we could if we want to, but I'm going to roll with David because
look,
I ain't winning nothing.
I know there's a lot going on behind the scenes in practices.
Right.
And, I'm glad that Russell made it to the bubble because I don't want any excuses from you when your Rockets, yet again, come up short. And I'm saying that now, and I'm looking to the camera. I'm telling every Rockets fan, it ain't happening this year. Sorry. Matter of fact, game 1 is a L. Check the schedule.
I guess Dallas.
Now, LaClent, we got a great owner over here in Dallas that owns the Dallas Mavericks.
Great owner.
And he has been very outspoken about a lot of the issues surrounding social justice versus injustice, depending on what the situation is, and has been making a lot of great points that I really think are resonating, not only with people who are suffering in that capacity, but no matter what side of the fence you're on, he seems to be making waves with that. What do you think about Mark Cuban and his stance in really supporting the players? There was a quote about him saying, look, we know the NBA rules are that you're supposed to stand, at attention when the national anthem is going on. But he's tired of the national anthem, quote unquote, police. That's a term that he used.
Right.
And said that, if they're doing something, on the protesting level that is respectful, he hopes that they would do it and that it's coming from their heart, and even said that he would join in them. How does that resonate with you? Is this somebody that is this just him, trying to sound good, or you think he's really coming from a good place with this?
Mark Cuban resonates as somebody who could be my president in 2020. Dave.
Well,
I mean, and this is Mark Cuban is a trendsetter,
right.
and he's doing exactly that. What owner in any sport
Right.
that is saying, you know what, guys, you do you, and I got your back.
Right.
And that's basically what he's saying, and he's setting the pace. And I wouldn't be surprised if other owners follow suit, but Mark Cuban is doing a great job for the community, for Dallas, and I really hope that in this pandemic, that in this movement, that he sets the trend, Brent, for greater success.
Me and Mark Cuban broke up when he broke up the 2011 team. So I don't really.
9 years ago?
Yeah, I haven't really came back into his good graces ever since then. But obviously he's an outstanding owner. If you look at some of the videos in the BLM movement, he was out there.
Yep.
Literally out there with everyone else. Obviously, we know how of a danger that could be.
Right.
So to put his own life at risk like that to support the cause, I'm appreciative. I'm really appreciative of the type of owner that we have, and I have respect for him, what he's able to do. BT.
I make no bones about it that I've never been a Mark Cuban fan, and it's partly
We all know that.
It's partly because of what you said. I always thought Mark Cuban was a blowhard. He was just a guy that sold wolf tickets, and when he broke up the Mavs team, and his explanation on why he broke it up was just a bunch of balderdash.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, not that I wanted y'all to stay together or anything, because y'all a championship team in my division, but really, I just never liked him. But it seems like ever since a certain president got into office, Mark Cuban has been sounding very, very favorable. I haven't made a complete 180 on him. I probably made a 140 on him.
Right.
And I really like what he has to say. I like what he seems pretty genuine on what he stands for, on his values and what he believes in. And I'm okay with him. I'm okay with Mark. He's okay. He can't come to the barbecue, but he's okay.
Maybe he can come to the what do you call it? The fish fry.
Nah,
can't do that either.
No.
Well, listen, there's one thing that I will say about Mark Cuban, and let's just talk about NBA ownership, period. Athletes have done their part, especially in the NBA. Yeah. I mean, over the years, I'm not even just talking about, this offseason when all this has been popping off, but they have done their part, in speaking up, for groups of people who need to be spoken up for. I mean, we go back to the Miami Heat, the Trayvon Martin, the iconic picture where they have their hoods on. I mean, there's just countless times where the players come up, but we don't really see ownership put themselves, up there like that. And I think our commissioners in the NBA, David Stern, our current commissioner now, Adam Silver, they've always been really progressive and really supportive of the NBA players and the Players Association. And I think it just speaks to the peace that they have, between the two sides. But when you have an owner, like Mark Cuban, who is, probably the most polarizing owner in the NBA easily, maybe top 2, top 3 in sports. We know Jerry is up there. For him to come out the way that he's done and been consistent, my hat's off to the guy. Sent Marshall, who's his executive there. I think that was one of the best things that could have ever happened to him. And it's not to say that he wasn't a good person before, but her being an African-American woman and just, being another sounding board for him, and then somebody that he's really relying on to sort of continue to turn the culture ever since the scandal happened, with the Mavs front office. It didn't directly involve Mark Cuban, but, it was under his watch. I think it's been one of the most beneficial things, that could have ever happened for him.
Yeah, Dave. I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say that I feel like the NBA players and the owners have a good relationship, and I feel like that bond, guys, got even more closer together after a big tragedy that the sports world had when we lost Kobe Bryant.
Right.
And I think you saw everybody come together, owners, coaches, and players. And I think they just kind of bridged the gap even more closer.
Yeah. Well, listen, as we get ready to go to break, we've been talking about a lot of what's happening off the court, but we got to talk about what's going to happen on the court because these games are about to happen again.
That's when it goes down.
Scrimmages happen this week. The regular season kicks off
Yeah,
next
let's get hurt.
Thursday, and I cannot wait. And we're going to talk about some of these teams that have advantages or maybe disadvantages playing in the NBA AAU tournament.
Right.
We'll be right back. Real Deal Sports Talk Show. Stay tuned.
We good?
T-Mac.
Welcome back to the Real Deal Sports Talk Show, brought to you live right here at the Bobbisox Lounge in DeSoto, Texas. If you haven't heard of it, you're going to hear of it now because they're our main sponsor, and we definitely appreciate them for having us
100%.
each and every Monday. Guys, look, we came off some pretty heavy NBA talk, but we got to go a little bit deeper. We're going into the NBA bubble, and it's set up much like an AAU tournament. I don't know if you've ever been to one, but you have all the teams basically playing in one place on multiple courts. We won't be playing multiple games at multiple times, at least I don't think. But a lot of the advantages and disadvantages that you would get in a standard NBA postseason with seeding and home court advantage, it's completely out. The Milwaukee Bucks would have had the number 1 overall seed. You would have had to go through them as long as they were alive. The Lakers did what everybody thought that they would do this year. They had the number 1 seed in the West. But now everyone is going to be in one place on several courts, and there aren't going to be any fans. Guys, I'm really wondering, did this help or hurt a lot of the favorites that were going into the NBA postseason?
First of all, LeBron James don't need advantages. It's like an oxymoron, okay?
He doesn't.
It's like an oxymoron.
Oh.
You say, I remember Clint, we was talking, and you say that the Showtime lights, right? It gets dark in LA, right? They're used to that type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's LeBron James.
Man.
He don't care if the lights are dimmed or anything. You don't have to be nobody in the audience. LeBron James is gonna do what LeBron James is gonna do.
Which is what?
He's gonna take it home.
Well, how many championships has he won?
Come on now, we all know how many.
How many has he won? Real talk.
3.
Come on, pretend like I'm a teacher, y'all my students. 3. How many has he lost?
4?
No, 13.
Okay, tell me your Houston logic.
Did he win a championship in his other 13 seasons he's been in the league?
Thank you, BT.
That's true.
Thank you,
Just
BT.
like Michael Jordan lost 13 times, or 12 times, I mean it was. If you don't win a championship, you lost it, right?
Yeah, but if you're actually in the finals and you actually have a chance to win, then I'm sorry, BT, that's kind of credible as well. And how many? So let's play this again. How many finals has LeBron James lost?
He's lost in the finals, 6 times?
6 times.
Well, you know what? 6 times. No, he lost 6 times. Just say he lost 6 times.
It's silly, man.
And so to Brent's point, you can't just assume that LeBron's gonna take it home, especially when he's not even the best player in the league. Go ahead.
Would it have been better if LeBron had only been to 3 finals and won all 3 than to go into the finals 9 times and only won 3?
It's people's logic. Yeah, that's what
That is the most ridiculous, asinine logic on the planet.
Not when you're talking about the GOAT. If LeBron James was a top 20 player in the NBA of all time, yeah, sure, we can argue that. But if you're telling me that he's the greatest player of all time, I'm sorry, I have to put him up there with those type of questions.
So we don't want to get into a GOAT conversation.
Yeah, 'cause
because
that's
we
like-
all know who the GOAT was, right?
Right.
We all know who the GOAT was.
Michael Jordan.
Kobe Bryant. Now, Dave, it seems like to me you feel like there's another favorite other than the LeBron James, the king. You got another
Absolutely.
favorite.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if I can say another favorite because I don't consider the Lakers the favorite. I think they have a great chance.
Right.
I won't dismiss that. I'll tell you that. But the LA Clippers, that's the best team in the NBA. That's
Why?
the best roster
Why?
in
I
the
agree.
NBA. They're the deepest roster in the NBA.
I agree.
I think, the ability to have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who are arguably the 2 best two-way players in combination when you're looking at any other team. Those guys being on that team makes them extremely flexible, and they can just defend you in multiple ways. Oh, and not to mention, both of them can score with the best of them in the league, including LeBron and anybody else that you want to name. I think Doc Rivers is a top 3 coach. Has always been a top 3 coach in my book. And the combination of those 2 things, I think it sets them up really nicely. On top of the fact that when they're in LA, when they would have been playing home games, they didn't have to worry about any of the Laker crowd coming in there because they're going to be in a place where there are no fans absolutely at all.
Yeah, and Dave, I agree with you on the Clippers. You got Reggie
Yep.
chiming in. You got Lou Williams coming in. So they're definitely stacked across the board. But if we go over to the East side, Dave, you got the Bucks, obviously, but I think a team that we're not thinking about who definitely has the advantage here because of this AAU style is the 76ers, believe it or not. Simply because, you got Ben Simmons, who had a back injury. You had Al Horford, who had an Achilles injury. They had time to heal. Now, and then Embiid, who always got something going on.
Right.
They're back at full strength, right? And so on top of that, they had the worst record, Brent. They had the worst record on the road out of all the playoff teams.
Right.
So this definitely helps them out tremendously because, without the fans, you don't really have that road feel, that road vibe. And they're sitting there in seventh spot, and so they could easily move up and have a good challenge against a team outside of the Raptors or the Celtics. They're going to probably play a team lower than that where they have a better chance.
We're talking about favorites though, but is there a dark horse in the mix?
Oh, there's a dark horse.
They're not really
There's a
dark.
horse?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not really dark.
They're not dark at all. there are plenty of experts
Okay.
who feel like the Dallas Mavericks could absolutely surprise anybody in the West, given the matchup. Now, I will go on record and say I do not like their chances against the Clippers. I feel like the Clippers have every bit of kryptonite to annihilate what we like to do, especially on offense. But I know Houston doesn't want to see us. in a matchup.
He's not
You can't take the whole segment up on Houston, bro.
Yeah, hurry up.
Let me talk about the bubble, and the difference on the effect of the bubble. Now, the difference between superstar players and good players or role players is their splits on the road, and like everybody plays well at home, but on the road, the superstars play well on the road, and it's like that since the beginning of time. It's I don't understand why. I've researched it. I don't understand why players do not play, well on the road. Now, what is that effect going to be in the bubble? Now, are guys super? I think superstars are going to play well.
Sure. How
How well are the role players going to play? Without that crowd pumping it up, without that announcer yelling defense, defense. So. Like I think they feel the effect of the crowd is huge. I think the effect of two teams will be really affected is the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets. For two different reasons. The altitude, for one thing, that is a huge advantage, home court advantage for Denver and Utah. And then in Utah is the crowd. That crowd is so slanted. It's ridiculous. It doesn't matter. I mean, Rudy Gobert can run over somebody like Derrick Henry, and then they call a charge. Boo, boo, boo. It's obviously a charge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
but Utah doesn't care. Any whistle that goes against them is going to come with a rain of boos, and I don't care what anybody says. That psychologically affects the referees, and if it's a close 50-50 call, I think that referee's going to swallow his whistle in Utah.
I feel like you're saying all this to set up your dark horse.
No, and
That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
You're
hey,
knocking off teams.
Say what's on your mind.
And as I alluded
You didn't
to,
take the bait. You didn't take the bait.
as I teased earlier, I think the Houston Rockets have a puncher's chance. Am I a homer? Yes. Am I biased? Absolutely. But I think the Rockets, the style the Rockets play, gives them a puncher's chance because people say, "Oh, you don't have a big man to protect the rim." Well, that's because we play switching defense, and switching defenses cuts off driving lanes. When you cut off driving lanes, that means you don't have to protect the rim as vigorously because people ain't getting down the lane on you. When you cut them off and you're doing switching, and you're switching a guy when you switch from one guy to another, and it's another guy that's 6'8" with long arms, and it's hard. It's hard to get by. It's hard to really find that chink in their armor when you got a bunch of rangy, lanky, athletic guys, and that's what the Rockets have. Look out for the Rockets. Watch out.
I don't think we need to look out for them.
Hey, man.
We'll be looking out for the Rockets, and I'm actually looking forward to how the refs, officiate these games, being that there are no fans there. Even Steven Adams over in Oklahoma City thinks that the Techs are going to be on the rise, but it's going to be an interesting dynamic going forward. BT,
they're going to be easy to hear. I'm gonna tell you something. When you cuss walking away, that's a BS call. Walking away, and if the crowd is screaming, the ref might not hear that. You're gonna hear it in the bubble.
Right.
You're gonna hear it. It's gonna be some people teed up, and that's bad for the Rockets because Russ is a mouthy guy. So we'll see.
Yeah. But tell us a little bit about, because I know we were talking earlier about what's going on, bringing up not to bring up the COVID thing again, but again, COVID-19. There's a lot going on in the NFL. It's like it's hit them the most at this point when it comes down to the backlash, the preparation, things like that. And Washington, there's a lot of things going on in the NFL.
Let's talk Washington. the Washington football franchise is what I like to call them, because that's what Tony Dungy calls them, and they are entrenched in a couple of newsworthy topics. The first one is the mascot name, which is the name that I'll utter for the last time ever in life, is the Redskins.
Right.
Daniel Snyder has
Last time.
he came out and said that it's time, because eventually you're going to be on the wrong side of history on this type of stuff.
He already is.
Yeah,
He already is.
Yeah. It's a derogatory name, and even if don't give me that, this tribe over here, Native American tribe, says it's not offensive, blah blah blah. There's over half of the Native Americans in this country are offended by that. Right. That's enough. That's way more than enough. So it gotta go. I mean, come on, man. We gotta move forward. We can't be on with, we can't be, be led by, antiquated things like this, So it's time to get that moved on. But that has been overshadowed by the 15 allegations of sexual misconduct by the staff of Washington.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Like, come on, man. What type of organization? This is what the NFL is trying to get away from. This good old boy club where you're going around pinching butts and using slurs, insensitive slurs. We're trying to move deep into the 21st century. We're trying to get past all that old stuff that's got us looking like cavemen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I agree. Snyder actually could have took a page, Dave, out of Mark Cuban's book, on how to handle this. I was very disturbed on how it took us so long to hear from Snyder. Right. Mark Cuban jumped on it immediately. Like that, immediately, and really put something out there for everybody to hear. I don't know if that was Mark. I don't know if that was his public relations team or what, but I think Snyder went about it the wrong way.
Even Mark Cuban, came out and he didn't shy away. He knows he had a very similar situation that he had to deal with about getting ahead of this, not letting the public take too much of it without you being the leader, coming forward, and just accepting, what is right in front of us. I think the Washington football team, they've had a lot of skeletons in their closets over the years. We've heard about, players and coaches literally ready to come to blows, over women, drugs, money, whatever. And some of that stuff is really coming to light. And, Clint, I'm just really wondering, where is this franchise headed? If you're a diehard fan, how do you continue to support a team that just seems to be in so much turmoil all the time? Oh, and by the way, they've never really been that good in, quite a while, probably since Robert Griffin's rookie year.
Right. It's just sad. It's sad that they keep getting it wrong. And I'm sorry, this is on the NFL. Dan Snyder's the owner, and he has a lot to blame. But there are certain things that, the NFL comes down hard all the time on players. You need to come down hard on your owners,
yes,
and hold them accountable. And I don't think that's being done enough, Dave. And not only that, the NFL is taking even a further step back on how they're handling the COVID situation in that presence, Dave.
Right. They're finally getting some clarity. And when I say finally, I'm talking about like 2 hours ago. The Players Association finally got an agreement with the NFL where for the first 2 weeks, they're going to test every single day. They're going to test for COVID. And I think that's going to put a lot of players at ease with this. I believe if the number is below 5% after they go through the first 2 rounds of testing, that it'll end up being every other day. So it's going to be something that's, they're going to have a gradual release in testing, but there should be some consistent testing going forward. But guys, I mean, is it just me or does it feel like the NFL was literally just gambling all summer? Like, maybe the curve should be flattened by the time we get to July and August. And, we won't have to come up with any policies for this. And we can just kind of go forward and we'll still be able to play our game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree 100%. The NFL they were just waiting for the wind to change and waiting for this coronavirus to burn up in the summer heat, right, like our fearless leader told us. Right. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, man. I mean, the NFL did not take charge of this situation. They were hoping to skate by, everything would open back up, everything would be all good, and they could just continue as business as usual. Right. And that is not the case at all. And basically, the players feel the same way. The players are in the dark. They were in the dark. They finally sat down like Dave was just talking about.
Right.
You know, J.J. Watt came out and tweeted saying, you know, we want to play, but you know, we got a lot of questions. We're just not going to strap on the helmets and go out on the field. Right. And the NFL, they really have not done a good job of getting, you know, of really corralling this situation and going forward.
Right. Yeah, the NFL couldn't imagine, Dave, to your point. I don't think they envisioned out of any, obviously the NFL is the biggest league of any professional league out there, right? It's the most popular, and I don't think they could envision rather, a time or a period where the NFL was going to be canceled, even suspended games, man. So I think they was, like you said, they was just waiting, coasting, trying to see what MLB would do, NFL would do, NBA would do, NHL would do, and then they need to start making. Now let's not get too ahead of ourselves. There's still about 2 months for an NFL kickoff, right? We kick off mid-September is their first kickoff game, so
Camp start tomorrow.
Camp start tomorrow, but I mean, come on, man. They don't need the insinuating the long-term training camps. They've already done away with half the preseason games. They're trying to get another 2 off the books, right, to eliminate all of them altogether, guys. I don't think they need all of that to make a season start. And I think the NFL is actually prepared to really go without a lot of that stuff and be ready just to kick off and see what they get.
But you know what? If they're prepared to make those kind of decisions, then why hasn't it been decided yet? Why are we literally going into tomorrow being the day that rookies are to report to their camps? You're supposed to have quarterbacks and injured players that are to report 2 days later. And it literally just became official today, like, okay, that's going to be the plan. But the players still, they don't even want to have a preseason. The NFL proposed, okay, you know, we're at 2 games, let's bring it down to 1. The NFL players do not want to play a preseason game. They feel it's a meaningless game. It's just another opportunity for their future, you know, for this season to be somewhat in limbo because you're having to put yourself, quote unquote, in harm's way, you know, while you're still trying to figure out what the protocols are going to be while you're navigating COVID with a season that's ahead of us. I mean, we can look across several franchises across the league, and they haven't even made decisions on how many players, how many, you know, crowd members are going to be in the stadiums. Are you going to be able to tailgate? You know, I saw Baltimore, I believe, was supposed to be around 14%. I saw another franchise supposed to be 25% or less. There was another franchise that said there will be absolutely no tailgating. So they've already made that decision, but they hadn't made the decision for the amount of fans that are going to be in the stadium. I just don't understand why this NFL, this multi-billion-dollar industry, cannot get, you know, 4 or 5 people to come together and just create a plan. Oh, by the way, you saw the NBA put this whole thing together. Their last testing round was July 13th. They don't have any players who are positive for COVID. Like, just steal what they're doing. Take what they're doing. I know you can't get them in a bubble, but you can take some of the protocols and move forward.
Just add another to Roger Goodell's list, something he didn't handle right. I mean, from Ray Rice to just countless other incidents, the Zeke situation. It's just a lot of things that goes as a blemish on Goodell's record as an NFL commissioner. I don't think he's done a great job.
I don't either. But listen, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic because this is still today's America's game. Not baseball, not basketball. It's the NFL. Is just the top of the list when it comes down to the most watch. And so I believe that there's a lot of unknowns. I think there are a lot of back and forth that's going on. Honestly, I think there's a lot of back and forth going on between the government and the NFL, and they're trying to get some answers and trying to front and try to get ahead of what, you know, because the government comes out.
They're in bed with each other.
You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of that is going on. But I'm optimistic. There has to be NFL football season because there has to be fantasy football season because I got to win again.
You have to throw that in there. I'm glad you brought up fantasy football. You need the stars to be active and wanting to play. J.J. Watt came out, you know, last week expressing a lot of concern about returning. You know, they want to play. I know Russell Wilson did the same thing. Tank Lawrence right here. Yep. His wife is pregnant, so I mean he has every, you know, reason to be concerned, you know, about, you know, contracting COVID and being around his wife with it. You know, what players do you think are going to have to come out and probably really get this going, because at the end of the day, as much as the owners run the league and they're paying, these superstar players come up and start talking about something that's maybe a little indifferent to what the status quo is. I think that's when you see change. And again, I hate to keep going back to the NBA, but I mean, they've got a great plan and their players led it. You know, what players are going to have to come out and kind of lead the charge for the NFL? What do y'all think?
Top teams, right?
Yeah.
The branded teams, Cowboys,
Your
the
current
Steelers,
Super Bowl champions, Steelers, the
Chiefs,
Chiefs.
Green Bay Packers, the top players from those teams, y'all. Dak. You don't think so, Brent?
Not Dak.
I'm serious. As much as I don't like him, I think.
All right, this is what I think. Like, okay, you remember when the whole George Floyd thing happened?
Right.
Tragically, that died. Now the NFL wanted to make a statement, and it was Patrick Mahomes that led that charge.
Right.
And I think it takes guys like him, and it'll take some people from the old guard too, like Aaron Rodgers, and even Drew Brees. You know, those guys. I think it'll take those guys to stand up, and they'll be stand up, and people will listen to them. They have a voice.
What about Tom Brady? You forgot him.
Tom Brady as well. He is too. But like, I think Tom Brady, he's busy down in Florida.
Check this out, and shout out to one of our RDST faithfuls, Mr. Neiman Sowells. Just let us know while we're right here on the show that Antonio Brown is planning to retire. Again?
wow.
Again.
Would that be again?
Oh wow!
Breaking news.
Yeah.
And there were rumors a couple weeks ago that he's going to come to the Houston Texans.
Right.
What team is he retiring
Because you
from?
need a receiver.
I don't know.
I guess most recently the
What team?
Patriots. Most recently.
So
That's a good question. Where would he be retiring from?
yeah, the Patriots. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
question.
All right. So let's keep it going. We're going to move it back to the NBA.
All right.
In this segment, we're going to see what's trending in RDST.
Tell us what RDST is.
RDST, Real Deal Sports Talk, is a sports talk group that we created in Facebook almost 10 years ago.
Right.
Started out with 25 of us friends that wanted a platform where we can talk sports without being interrupted by people that don't know sports.
Come on.
Okay? So, yeah, and it started, so we decided to make it, to grow it, to make it go bigger. And it went from 25 members to 100 members to 500 to 1,000 to right now we're at 7,800 people.
Yeah.
And
Shout out to everybody in RDST
Yes.
that's been rolling us.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
group. Join RDST. Go ahead, BT.
And at this point, you know, the group is it's over 1,000 posts a day, 30,000 posts a month, and it's a monster. Sometimes I feel we feel like Dr. Frankenstein has created something that's out to destroy the
out of
village.
control,
Yeah.
right. It's out of
But
control.
sometimes, but most of the time we think it's something beautiful.
Absolutely.
You know, a place where people can come and talk sports and not be judged too much. Okay, but there's times where topics that go, you know, that talk about anytime there's a Cowboys thread, the Cowboys thread is going to go over 1,000 comments deep.
Better believe it.
You know, sometimes and there are other threads that are 10, and that's all that needs to be said.
Right.
So like, what's
So
trending
topic
right now?
number one.
Topic number one, what's going on right now is a post by Jalen Boyd.
right.
Shout out to
Jalen
Jalen
Boyd.
Boyd.
What up, Jalen?
What's up? Shout out Jalen.
LeBron James saying on the 2019-2020 MVP race, and LeBron's quote is saying, "I think I've already shown them what I'm capable of. I remember all those conversations where they said LeBron dominated the East, but in the West he wouldn't be the same. Yes, I heard all the nonsense. We are number one in the West. I have no more to prove to you." And then, man, I mean, that's pretty shocking.
Done.
Yeah, I mean,
What else is there to say?
how many people?
Oh, that's plenty to say.
Now you knew this was coming.
I'm asking you again, teacher-student segment. Who has the most points in the Lakers team right now? Who averaged the most points?
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis. That's not LeBron. Oh, here goes another one. Who averaged the most rebounds?
Anthony Davis.
Huh?
Anthony Davis.
What? No LeBron James? So you're not even the best player or the most valuable player on your team.
Okay.
How are you the most valuable in the league?
And that's a great segue to a comment by Daryl Jones. Shout out Daryl.
What up,
He
Daryl?
said 2019-2020 Lakers stat leaders: points, AD; rebounds, AD; blocks, AD; steals, AD. But Bron's the MVP, huh? Get out of here. If Bron got the NBA MVP this year, this season, AD, with the season that AD is having with the Lakers, it's a slap in the face. And that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, man.
But I'd like to retort. And when Steve Nash won the MVP, who led the Phoenix Suns in scoring? Who led them in rebounds?
Stop.
Who led them in steals
Stop.
and blocks? I see what I'm saying? That's the point. It wasn't Nash, but he was still the MVP. LeBron leads the Lakers in assists.
Okay, stop it. All right, I'm going all gas, no brakes, no fakes. I'm
All
about
in
to
your
put
face.
this in your face.
All right.
First of all, come on, man. It's LeBron James.
Right.
If
What we
AD has what's his name?
Anthony Davis.
No, what's the guy name or RDST?
Oh, Daryl Jones.
Daryl. Let me tell you something, Daryl.
Uh-oh.
The only reason why AD has what he has is because LeBron is allowing it to happen.
Oh, wow.
Please understand that, because when they get to the finals in this bubble, you think the ball's going to be in AD hands? Let me tell you what AD is going to do. He's going to pass it right back to LeBron, because LeBron does what LeBron. He's the king of the NBA. He knows when to turn it on, when he needs to turn it on. Tim Duncan didn't do nothing during the regular season, but all come to NBA Finals or the Western Conference Finals, oh, you saw a whole different Timmy. That's LeBron. Come on, man. Let's not pay attention to this regular season stuff.
Oh.
AD, come on.
Okay, LaClent, let's see what kind of logic you're really going to use.
Okay.
Now, I'll be the first to tell you I am not the biggest LeBron James fan.
You're not.
I respect his place in history.
You
He
got to.
is one of the greatest players to ever play in the National Basketball Association.
Second.
However, he ain't no GOAT. However, LaClent, let's say outside, I get you a brand new Ferrari. It's got all the bells and whistles. You got your nice, nitrous oxide gas tanks. I mean, you just ready to take off, but I forget to put the engine in it.
Speed.
I forget to put the engine in it.
You forget to put the engine.
I forget to put the engine in it. What use is that car to you? What use is that Ferrari to you? If there's no engine in it.
Can you sell it?
You sell it for parts.
Right.
It's useless.
What can you do with it at that point?
You can't do much with it, but take selfies.
Well, you can stunt a little bit. And that's exactly what I'm saying when it comes to LeBron. When it comes to that Lakers team, okay, Anthony Davis, he's the younger player. He's still in his prime. LeBron is still playing at an A100 level. Let's just call it what it is. If he's not in his prime, I don't know what this is. This guy is still able to do at this age after so many years. But he's the engine that makes that team go. And I think if he's not on that team, I think Anthony Davis still gets those numbers, if not better. You think they're going to have that many wins? You think they'll have the same amount of wins?
No,
Absolutely
because
not.
the leadership is not there.
Absolutely not.
Man, this is crazy topic.
No,
Thank you. But
No.
Move on to this next thing that they're talking about.
Let me put this cherry on there. The people that are saying that AD should be, MVP over LeBron, or LeBron shouldn't be MVP because AD are the same people that say that Kyrie should have been the MVP of the 16 finals,
years.
even though LeBron led everybody in points, in blocks, in steals, in assists. So you can't have it both ways. Either LeBron's the GOAT because he has all the stats, or he's the GOAT because of leadership. Right. So you gotta give it up. You gotta give it up.
I mean,
to him.
I'm not saying LeBron doesn't deserve it. He's a candidate. I give you that, but I don't think the MVP is coming out the West at all. Because I don't think that, to me, the MVP should be from the best team in the league, and the best team in the league is the Milwaukee Bucks. And on the Milwaukee Bucks, you have Giannis. I mean, I don't see why people are shying away from him. I think the MVP right now, because of everything that's happened, I think is almost a name recognition. I'm not saying he don't deserve it, but yeah, I think so.
I think we could definitely have MVP talk, but I want to know what else is trending.
Okay.
BT.
What else is
got?
trending?
What else you
Okay.
got?
All right. Post number 2 is by Brandon Hubert. Shout out Brandon Hubert.
What up, Brandon?
Okay.
You better not be trash, Brandon.
Okay. and this is something that we teased a little bit earlier.
Okay.
And he says, all I'm gonna say about this, what if this was a Dallas Cowboy player? Boy, oh boy. It's a picture of James Harden wearing a Blue Lives Matter mask. Full Blue Lives Matter
That's
mask.
a great question.
And and in RDST, Cowboys are a lightning rod. Cowboys fans, Cowboys talk, anything. It's going to get a lot of comments, and what he's referring to is Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott donated, what was it, $50,000, $500,000 to police training, and that was another topic that went hard in
did.
in in RDST in the light of this whole, of police brutality with going on with Black Lives Matter, and basically he's trying to point out a lot of hypocrisy in RDST, saying that Harden can put this mask on and not get ridiculed the way that Dak Prescott. Now, is that fair? Should Harden get drugged through the mud
Absolutely.
like Dak Prescott?
Absolutely.
That's interesting. That's interesting you guys would say that, but Harden did come out and explain. He said he wore the mask. It wasn't for a political reason. He said the only reason why he wore it is because it covered his full beard. And there's not many masks out there that can cover his full beard. And if you know Harden,
That's the lamest excuse I ever heard.
you could say that.
It's
You
the
could say that,
worst.
but Harden is not a social media guy.
He doesn't have the reputation of being a social media guy or somebody that's gonna make political statements. So I'll take him at his word 100%. But if it was any other player, especially if they were a Dallas Cowboy, and they said the same thing, who has the same reputation of not making political statements or not, being social media savvy. I'm not even say social media savvy. Dak Prescott, again, he's on social media to promote his foundation and other things like that. He would have not gotten the same treatment. Just like, he got taken, through
And also,
hell and back
Yeah,
because, of the whole donation to police.
right. And Harden has in the past has donated to Black Lives Matter. So it would be a contradiction if he donated to Black Lives Matter and then had the Blue Lives Matter on it, because we all know that Blue Lives Matter was only created to contradict Black Lives Matter. Sure. And that's as far as I'm willing to go on that at all. But really, it's a tough situation. These are type of topics that are trending in RDST. A lot, with the political climate the way it is, and the way things are trending, and the way the world. And let's face it, the world is changing.
Right.
You really can't. We try to keep it sports, but we try to shield it. We try to keep it sports, but we don't want to shield our way off from the regular world.
Yeah, and like I said, if that was Dak Prescott or any Cowboy, anybody with a star on the helmet, you know how magnetized and magnified things get when you got the star on your helmet. It would have took nothing but 2 minutes for a big old uproar.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. What that leads me to our next and final segment, guys. 2 minutes with the ladies of RDST.
Ladies.
I mean, listen, man. Guys ain't the only ones with the knowledge. I know we think we are, but guys, let me tell you something. There is a lot of women out there who has a lot of knowledge about sports, and one of them, she's our featured guest here. Her name is Robin Harris, and let me tell you something, man. She knows a lot. She says a lot, and she was a big sponsor of our show when we had it about 5 years ago. And what happened was she would just come on each time, and we didn't have nobody in the queue, so she would go on and on and on. And then all of a sudden, we started getting people calling in back to back to back, and then they said, hold up, Robin, you can't be all day like you used to.
I got to stop you
Oh, my bad.
because everything you said was true.
Right.
But that's also my wife. What's up, baby? Love you very much.
Yeah. Robin Harris, she's on the show. Welcome, Robin, you there?
Hey guys, yeah, I'm here. I've been listening. I've been tuned in. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit. But since I've got 2 minutes, first of all, thanks for acknowledging my greatness and value and worth to the show. I'm the catalyst for a lot of or I was the catalyst initially for a lot of the things happening previously. So with that said, let me start. I know I'm on the clock. I really just want to come to you all and talk about. Aside from COVID, aside from us not being able to see sports this last few months the way that we've known it, but first it gives us a really good glimpse and opportunity to really talk about and bury the hatchet, because at the end of the day, it's about everything we saw Michael Jordan do in The Last Dance, which proves the point. And we can bury the hatchet once and for all that he was and is the GOAT. And so, I just wanted to make sure that we were mindful about that and bringing forward all of those great nuggets that the documentary really unpacked. And for me, I really appreciated a lot of the candidness. I would have liked to have unpacked and uncovered a little more of his family side and the kid aspect, but I see why that didn't happen. But overall, it solidifies once and for all, and where his place is in NBA history, but also recognizing that he is the GOAT. I know others on the panel may not agree, but I'm good. I got my 2 minutes, and I just wanted to say, thanks again for allowing me to be on. I've appreciated this. I'm excited for you guys and the return of RDST and the talk show. And that's it for my quick recap.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Did she make it, guys?
I think she made it.
Barely. But
Great job, Robin.
But we definitely
Thank you,
want
Robin. Good input.
Yeah, we thank Robin. We thank you so much for your input, and we welcome any women that wants to call in. We'll definitely give you that information soon, Dave.
Listen, the 2-minute segment was great. Shout out to Robin. I don't think you could be married to a guy like me without having, the ability to go back and forth with sports. And she goes hard. So,
Yeah.
babe, appreciate you contributing to the show. Listen up, guys.
Hold on, can I say?
Please do.
Robin, just so you know, and I will tell any lady that comes on 2 minutes, I'm going to tell you if you're wrong or not. Ain't nobody named Jeffrey, middle name Jeffrey, can be the GOAT. Okay?
Hey, you better start speaking down on the go.
Kobe Bean Bryant. Okay, thank you.
Bean. What kind of bean? Jelly bean?
There you go.
String bean?
They call
Anyway,
him
shout out
the
to
Bean that go in the basket.
Shout out to Kobe Bryant. Rest in power, sir. We will miss you. We love you, Gigi. We miss you as well. Guys, we made it through the first show. We made it through the premiere of the first show. Everybody at home, we hope you enjoyed everything that we got to bring to you right here on the Real Deal Sports Talk Show from the Bobbisox Lounge in DeSoto, Texas. Listen,
Bobbisox.
you haven't heard them before, you'll definitely hear them again. Look, I cannot get out of here before I have a special shout out to our producer, Mr. Matthew Wilson from Indianapolis.
The chef.
At Matt Wilson Band all over social media. Y'all make sure you hit him up. If you didn't see him in the ads, you can rewatch the show and check it out. Listen,
Matt Production.
if you haven't already, again, follow, like, subscribe, share, watch party, everything that you saw on this stream at RDST Show. Listen, we have a new Patreon page on social media. It's basically just an opportunity for you guys to donate to us if you feel like, you like what you see, you like the content that we're bringing. Listen, we have a lot of really big ideas and things that we want to bring to the show in the near future. And, hey, we'll do what we can to make sure we can bring that content to you. But if you want to drop a little something on our Patreon page, again, at RDST Show, you can do that. A donation of $5 or anything else beyond that, we would greatly appreciate it. Our next show is going to be August 3rd. So not next week, but the following Monday. We just have some life things that are happening. Good things, great things, actually. Whether it be birthdays for our producer. I'm celebrating the wedding anniversary. My brother to the right is getting ready to go on vacation.
Shout out, babe.
Vacation, he says.
I'm not doing anything. Me and BT not doing anything.
Yeah, y'all be fine. Maybe y'all can set up a Zoom or something with the
we're
followers.
going to set up the Brit. No, my way.
Yeah, they trying to start their own show all of a sudden. But, just continue to follow the page. If you haven't joined the private Real Deal Sports Talk group, go ahead and do that too. There are a couple of questions that you have to answer to get in, but again, that's where this was born out of. Listen, we have over 1,100 likes on our show page. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot thank you enough for the support that you guys have given us.
Man,
We've gotten 800 of those likes just this month alone. So everyone that has shared, clicked
going.
like, whatever, look, we can't do it without you. We appreciate it. We're independently ran and operated. There's nobody that we answer to. So we appreciate you guys for continuing. Jesus. We appreciate you guys for continuing to do that. Again, make sure you rewatch this, share it where everyone can see it. Guys, we only can bring a brand of sports talk that's all gas, no breaks, no fakes, all in your face. We'll catch y'all in 2 weeks, August 3rd. Thank you.
Shout out RDST.
Blessings.